What's up? It's Ben from WODprep, and in this video, this is video 2 of the 3-part video series of how to add accessories to your training to get better at CrossFit and look better naked. If you didn't catch part 1 of this video series, I'm gonna make sure to link that in the description and the top comment below. Be sure to go watch part 1 where I make sense of this absolute gibberish that's written on the board. I talk about how there are 3 main areas that we like to work on here at WODprep. It's skills, strength, and then aesthetics. We think that those are the 3 kind of buckets that we put our accessory training into to get better at the sport and also to look better naked, because that's what we think accessory can do. It's gonna help you increase your skills and your strength, whether that's with the barbell or whether that's with gymnastics. And then we can also increase our look good nakedness. We can look better naked. We can get bigger muscles. We can get more shredded thanks to aesthetic work. And that would be the bodybuilding, the core, maybe a little bit of engine. So with that, go watch that first video. If you've already done that and you're here, now let's talk about who, what, when, where, why, how. If you remember, in the first video, I talked a little bit about the who. Who should be adding accessory programming into their normal CrossFit programming or their normal workouts? Anyone. And here's why. Every single gym across the country generally programs for the masses, meaning they're helping us stay in shape and be healthy. Maybe they're helping us increase performance and strength. And yes, they are helping us look better naked thanks to just adding in training and dialing in your nutrition will make you look better naked. So overall, CrossFit or normal gym programming, whatever you go to, is going to help you achieve your goals. But the people who should be adding accessories are the people who want to get to their goals a little bit faster. It's the people like me who are a little impatient and they want to get to the point. I hate it when long TV series draw out all this information. I'd rather people get to the point and get to the point quickly. So when it comes to people like me, people who want to achieve results more quickly and easier with a specific focus, we think that those are the kinds of people who would love accessory programming. For some, going to the gym and doing a warm-up, a workout, and leaving in an hour, that's plenty. They're like, hey, that's enough exercise for me, and I respect that. But for the people who want to get a little bit stronger, or they want to work on their technique, or they have a few gymnastic skills, they're like, man, I want to learn that, and I want to learn it now so that I don't have to wait years to develop it. Those are the kinds of people who we think adding accessory programming as like a cherry on top to enhance their current programming, that is the people who accessory programming is perfect for. So the what. What are the kinds of things that we can be doing? Now, let me flip the board back over. If you are a person who wants to get better at gymnastics, at engine, have a stronger core, increase your weightlifting numbers, bodybuilding so you can get bigger biceps and look better naked. You want to increase your strength. I'm going to go over a couple drills for each one, and these are just a sample of the many accessory drills that you can do to cover all these bases. So let's start with something like gymnastics. Obviously, gymnastics, there's a million different drills that we can do. But I'd say one of my favorite drills for gymnastics that you can add in as an accessory is something like kipping practice. So kip swing practice. Practicing your balance underneath the bar. Practice the hollow and arch position. So simply doing something like a kipping lever, or lever, depending on where you're from, that would be a great accessory drill that's going to not fatigue you too much. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's also going to help you develop your body awareness to get better at the kipping pattern. So that's one example for gymnastics. Let's do engine. So when it comes to developing an engine, we talked about how it's an overlap between skills and aesthetics, right? So yes, doing more engine work is just going to make you burn more calories and thus make you look better naked. Okay, check that box off. But in terms of developing the skill, imagine if I told you to go do 5 500-meter row repeats. So 500-meter row, and then you rest a minute, do it again, rest a minute, do it again, rest a minute, so on and so forth. But if I told you to hold the same pace throughout all of them, that's where the skill comes in. Anyone can row 500 meters 5 times, generally, but usually for most people who are not skilled at pacing and identifying a good pace that they can maintain, you're going to see the first one be way faster than the second one, which is faster than the third one, and then by the time you get to the fifth one, you're going really slow. So the skill comes in when we actually learn how to pace. So doing something like testing your 2K row and then doing pacing intervals off of that. So let's say I told you to do 500-meter row repeats at your 2K row pace. Boom. Now we have some magic there. Now you're going to know exactly how fast you should go and see if you can maintain that 2,000-meter pace over the course of more meters, of 2,500 meters, I believe is what that would be. So that is just one example. Doing row repeats is a great way to develop your engine, which will help you with skills and aesthetics. All right. Next, let's talk about weightlifting. A weightlifting drill that we can easily add in. Let's do something like a snatch. So the snatch involves lots of skill, definitely lots of strength. But one thing that I don't see programmed in a lot of gyms is something like a snatch balance. Yes, sometimes it's programmed, but maybe once a month if you're lucky. But snatch balances, especially snatch balances maybe with an overhead squat hold at the bottom, that is a drill that if you work on that a little bit more frequently than you're used to in your normal gym, that accessory work can really help skyrocket your snatch. I know for me, when I started adding in overhead squat holds and snatch balances and learning to get under the bar quickly, that really helped me develop as an athlete and learn how to snatch more weight. So that's one example of many weightlifting accessory drills that you can do. Next, let's talk about core. So when it comes to developing a core, again, so many different exercises that we can do. One of my favorites that I don't see people doing a lot is an ab rollout. You can do it with a barbell. You can do it with one of those cool ab roller thingies. But I can't think of a movement that taxes my core more and shows me that I'm weak. As soon as I get out to that full extension, I start shaking, and it shows me that I really do need to strengthen my core. Because if I make my core really, really strong, yes, it's going to look good, but it's also going to help me with skills, and it's also going to help me with strength. So you don't necessarily have to develop your core with things just like toes to bar, which is how a lot of gyms treat it. We can actually do specific core drills that increase our core strength and thus make us better at skills like toes to bar. Next, let's just keep moving down. Bodybuilding. Obviously, bodybuilding, if we want to grow our muscles, it's important to have hypertrophy training. So that means maybe bigger sets and more sets to get a lot of reps in at a moderate weight. That would be things like bicep curls or Arnold presses or tricep extensions. Yes, these aren't things that we normally see inside most boxes, but that's because they're not necessarily functional movements. But if we want to increase our aesthetics, if we want to look better naked, if we're trying to increase our muscle size and yes, strength, sometimes it's really, really beneficial to do moderate weight, higher reps, and actually isolate those muscles. Yes, for the most part, I love compound functional movements. I think that's what makes CrossFit specifically so special, is I don't have to sit at the gym and do this all day. But that doesn't mean we need to cut it out completely. And unfortunately, I think a lot of gyms have done that. They remove all bodybuilding because bodybuilding isn't CrossFit. But bodybuilding can be really, really beneficial. It can help us increase our strength, and it can help our muscles get bigger, and it can be a lower impact way of training, not just one rep maxing our snatches all day. Instead, we're doing some bicep curls and tricep extensions and chest presses and things like that. And that's going to help our muscles get bigger, stronger, and not have quite as much of an impact on them. So those are more than one example for bodybuilding. And then last but not least, let's talk about strength. This is exactly what you might think. This could be doing deadlifts, doing squats, doing presses. That's going to help us increase that raw strength. You could think about deficit deadlifts. You could think about adding in pendlay rows or barbell rows. So strength doesn't necessarily have to be the core movements like bench, squat, and deadlift. It can also be more barbell accessory work like that pendlay row, like deficit deadlifts, like 1 1/4 front squats or half front squats. And there's a lot of unique things that we can do with that barbell that's not necessarily going to be the exact strength programming that we do inside of our boxes. And it's that accessory work that's going to help increase our strength in creative ways. So I hope that wasn't too much of a rant. I know I went through a lot. Hopefully there were some good video demonstrations of the types of things that we like to do. In the comments below, I know in the previous video series we talked about, I wanted you to identify which 2 accessory categories you wanted to add into your training in the comments below. Let me know what 2 movements you want to add into your accessory work. So it doesn't matter which categories you choose, just pick 2 movements, maybe make one up based on the examples that I share, or you can make up your own and say which category it fits into. Is that movement a gymnastics, an engine, a weightlifting, core, bodybuilding, or strength component? Now, we're gonna keep moving on. So we talked about the who. We spent a lot of time on the what, because that's what this video is about. Now we're gonna briefly cover the when, where, why, and how. So when should you add in accessory programming? Well, whenever you can. Accessory programming shouldn't be hours long because it's probably too much volume. Accessory programming shouldn't be in place of your normal training. It should add in, like I keep saying, as a cherry on top. So think about 30 minutes before your gym session. So let's say you go to the 4:30 p.m. class. If you can come in at 4 and your gym has space and you can do some accessory work for 30 minutes before the class, that's great. Or maybe you're someone who can stay after class and add in some accessory work. That's great as well. So those are the most common options. You could also do a second session. For something like, let's say, engine work. Maybe in the morning, you do a 30-ish minute engine accessory session, and then you have plenty of rest, and then can come in the evening and do your normal gym. So wherever you can fit it in, it's great, but I want you to focus on it doesn't have to take too much time. It shouldn't involve crazy lengthy warm-ups. It's just coming in and doing that little bit of extra work that's gonna help you get better at all those categories and make you a more well-rounded athlete and look better naked. So usually 30 minutes before, 45 minutes before, or 45 minutes after, or maybe as a second session, or if you have a gym at home, you can do it whenever you have time, maybe between meetings or at lunch. All of those are great options. It's just finding those little tiny breaks, those little tiny spaces where you can add in just a cherry's worth more. So that covers when, that covers where. You can obviously do your accessory programming at the box you go to. You can do your accessory programming maybe in your garage gym. If you live in an apartment complex or an area that has just a normal Globo gym, perfect. Almost everything that we do for accessory programming can be done at a Globo gym. So that covers the where. The why. Why would we do this work? Well, we covered it on the who. If we want to get better at the sport, then we need to be doing things to increase our strength, skills, and engine. If you remember the diagram that I drew previously, we have strength, we have skills, and then obviously engine is its own category here. If we want to get better at looking better naked, then the bodybuilding comes in. So having a stronger core, increasing our muscle size with hypertrophy training. So again, for the why, it's for the athletes who want to go on a slightly faster track to achieve their goals. No matter what your goal is, whether it's performance or just looking better naked, if we want to just make it happen faster, that's the why. That's why we would add in that accessory programming. And last but not least, we have the how. So how should you go about writing the programming? How should you go about coming up with the reps and the sets and the exact drills that you should do? That is what I'm going to cover in our third and final video of this series. So WODprep has developed something that will help you know exactly what to do, how to do it, and the exact reps and sets to use with the specific drills to cover all 6 of those categories. So for the how, you'll have to tune in to the next video, which will be released in a couple days, depending on when you're watching this. And with that, remember, in the comments below, what are 2 drills, 2 accessory drills that you would like to add, and which of the 6 categories do they fit into? Leave that comment below. Thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, smash the subscribe button, and I will see you in the third and final video of how to add accessory programming to get better at CrossFit and look better naked. I'll see you in the next video. If you liked this video, then you're gonna love my next video. Click here to watch more free training from WODprep.